There were voices. "An admiral? Is this a joke?" one of the voices said. "It's the seal, look at this. I think someone's done something to it." "Is he alive?" "This isn't even our ship." "He's breathing, I have him." I was distracted from the pain racking my body by a pair of soft lips on mine, and a rush of welcome, second-hand oxygen. The kindness didn't last. A powerful fist smashed into my sternum. The hand drew back for another blow, but I managed to grab the wrist and hold it. I didn't need to be hit again. Coughing, I opened my eyes just to shut them again. There were 3 lights blinding me. I released the wrist, then slowly sat up and groaned. Someone backed away from me. The deck was cold and the air didn't taste right. I opened one eye and squinted up. 3 people stood over me. 2 young women, 1 young man. They wore only service-issue undergarments. Like me, they must have just come out of their sleepers. I had no circulation in my limbs, my mouth was dry, the world was skipping frames, and my mind was stumbling to catch up. Sleepers were good at shutting down brain function. They weren't as good at bringing it back. I could feel my heart twitching in a way that I didn't particularly like, though the sleeper wasn't to blame for that. I felt like a dead man. I'd had bad wake-ups before, but nothing like this. Apart from a few readouts, the sleeper bay was completely dark. No lights, no emergency lights. Tangled as my head was, I knew that couldn't be right. The deck was metal and not especially clean. I could feel an aggressive non-slip pattern of ridges under my palm. That was unexpected. "What's happening?" I asked, rubbing at my eyes and trying to make myself focus. It was as if I had all the negative effects of ethanol poisoning, but none of its perks. Every part of my brain was struggling, except my memory. "Where are we?" The 3 exchanged looks. "Undetermined, sir." That came from the shorter of the 2 females. The tall one watched me suspiciously, and the young man looked like he was trying to wake up from a bad dream. I knew exactly how he felt. "Did you pull me?" "You were showing warning lights. Something's wrong with this unit," the young man said, tapping the sleeper's plastic shield. "The power's gone, sir." "Thank you." That was why these 3 had their hand lights. My thoughts weren't so jumbled that I didn't know they'd just saved my life by getting me out of that sleeper. I didn't know where we were, but it wasn't Payne Station. The paralysis was wearing off. I wanted to close my eyes and lie back down. So I got to my feet, wobbling only a little. I reached up, touching my hair. It was short. I'd already known that. I was just checking. The taller of the 2 women was eye to eye with me, and I'm nearly 2 meters. The look she was giving me wasn't particularly friendly. I rubbed my face, finding stubble. I shook my head and considered the 3 young people, thinking fast. I eyed the young man. "Are you a tech?" He nodded. "Ensign Niels, trainee." "Trainee?" "Graduate, sir." I looked them over, trying to understand. "All of you?" "Yes, sir," they replied as one. Evagardian trainees. All graduates. I sort of waved my hand at them. "And you're all going to the Julian?" "Yes, sir." Nice chorus. "First assignment?" "Yes, sir." I pinched the bridge of my nose and groaned. They politely just stood there, staring at me. We were all shivering. I pulled myself together and tried to look as though I was in control of my life. How had these 3 gotten onto a ship transporting me? I took a deep breath to keep my temper under control. "Relax," I told the trainees who were standing stiffly, all earnest propriety. Giving their military customs and courtesies their all, insofar as they could in their underwear. I waved at them again. You're not in uniform, I frowned. But I suppose you ought to be. Get dressed. They shifted uncomfortably, and I realized that without power they couldn't access the lockers on their sleepers. Niels cleared his throat. Sir? I turned to him. He had a little muscle that he probably hadn't had before service training. He embodied every tech cliché, so he couldn't really be anything else. He was pale and a little twitchy. Then again, so was I. What? He panned his light over the ceiling, showing hard lines and rough gray metal. Sir, this is a Commonwealth vessel. Ganron. I doubt that. I rubbed at my sore joints, swearing internally. Sir, the tall girl said very firmly. The engineering markings are all here. She used her own light to show me a faded plaque on the bulkhead. It was the emblem of the Ganron Royal Trade Commission and a map of the deck. Well, it was pretty hard to argue with that. Yes, it's Ganron built, I said, looking around. These graduates couldn't have been intended to revive on this vessel. How had this happened? It wasn't just the wake-up. It wasn't the state of my health or my malfunctioning brain. Something was very wrong here.